Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rohit. In this video I'm going to give you the introduction to Python. So before going into the details of what is Python and why is Python easy and why most of the companies are using Python. First, what is language? What is a language? A language is nothing but a medium of communication. Medium of communication. Second, this should be understandable by both the ends. And third, this should be as simple as possible and minimal. Let us consider there is a person A and person B, and they want to communicate with each other. In order to communicate with each other, there should be a medium of communication between two, and the medium of communication should be understandable by both, and the medium of communication should be as simple as possible. So in the same way, if you want to communicate with your computer system, there is a language known as the programming language. Programming language. What exactly is this programming language? This programming language is divided into two. One is the assembly language and another one is the interpreter based language. What is this assembly language and what are the examples of assembly? Assembly languages are like C, C++, Java. And what are interpreter based languages? Python, Julia, etc. So what is the difference between the two? The first difference is, let us consider you have written a Java programming and you want to run this program, and this is a program of addition of two numbers, but you can't directly execute this program. In order to do that, you have to first compile the program. What does this compilation mean? Whenever you basically, so the program which is being written, this is in a human understandable code. But computers only understand the language of binary language, that is in zeros and ones. So in order to convert this addition of two numbers program into a machine understandable code, we have to compile, and after compiling, a file known as the .class file or the bytecode file gets generated. Once after .class or bytecode file gets generated, the user can now execute the program and the desired output is given. But whereas in interpreter based languages like Python, you need not compile. There is no process of compilation. Let us consider this is a program of Python, which is nothing but the addition of two numbers, and you can directly execute and you get the desired output. That is the main difference between the assembly languages and the interpreter based languages. Now next we'll come to what exactly is Python. What is Python? Python is a first interpreted, second object oriented, third high level, fourth in general purpose programming language, and with dynamic semantics. What is an interpreted language? As we have seen in the previous example, interpreted language is a language wherein you need not compile the code first and then execute. We can directly execute the program and the interpreter will interpret the instructions given in that particular programming language. That is why Python is known as an interpreted language. What is an object oriented? Apart from assembly language and interpreted based language, programming languages are also categorized into two. One is the procedure oriented language and another one is nothing but the object oriented language. What is procedure oriented language? Let us consider there are two people, there are two developers, A and B, and this person A has written 1000 lines of code and this person has written 1000 lines of code. 1000 plus 1000, total 2000 lines of code has been written by both, and out of these two one person has executed the code and there are many errors coming up. So in order to navigate to those errors and to fix it, it is very cumbersome in procedure oriented language, because in procedure oriented language it does not follow a specific structure, but whereas in object oriented programming we can, the same 2000 lines of code, if the same 2000 lines of code gets error, we can directly navigate to that error and we can fix that. Why? Because this object oriented program uses the concepts of classes, methods, and apart from that there are also some techniques like first polymorphism, second inheritance, third encapsulation, etc. So that is why object oriented programming is easier when compared to procedure oriented programming language. So that is the reason Python is known as object oriented programming language. Next, when it comes to next Python is when it comes to high level language. Why Python is known as high level language? Again, programming languages are categorized into two. One is the low level language and another one is the high level language. So why Python is called as high level language? Let us consider in low level example of low level languages C and high level languages Python. Now in C, let us consider we are trying to write a program to add two numbers, like hash include stdio.h, hash include math.h, int a. Sorry if my Sorry if the syntax is not wrong, is wrong, because it has been very long. Int a, int b, int c. A is equals to 10, b is equals to 10, and c is equals to a plus b. Printf sum of two numbers, sum is percentile d comma c. This is your void main. So this is the program. So let us consider int d as well here. Int d. So we have declared d is equals to 20. So now in the high level language also we will rewrite the same program in Python. A is equals to 10, b is equals to 10, c is equals to 20, uh, b is equals to 20, c is equals to a plus b, print c. So in high level language what exactly happens is, in high level languages what exactly happens is, and now first the interpreter goes to this line, and what it does is it basically creates or allocates some space in the memory. A is equals to 10, which is pointing to one location, and similarly for B, similarly for C, and similarly for D, for C, for C and for D. For C. When it comes here, it will check, the interpreter will check how many variables are being used by the user. How many variables are being used by the user. Here it will check A is being used, B is being used, and C is also being used, but not D. So what it does, as D is an unused variable or object, the memory which is being allocated to this variable will get deallocated automatically in high level languages. But whereas in low level languages we have to explicitly allocate the memory to that particular variable, and also we have to deallocate by using the functions such as malloc and free. These are the functions which are used. So the process of the process of deallocating the memory to an unused variable is known as garbage collection. And this garbage collection is being done automatically in high level languages, but whereas in low level languages the user has to, or the programmer or the developer has to explicitly do it by using the functions which I have shown. So that is why Python is known as an interpreted, high level, object oriented programming language. Now this Python is called as high level programming language with dynamic semantics. What do you mean by dynamic semantics? These dynamic semantics, what it means is basically We have seen a program which is being written in C and the program which is being written in Python just now. In the program of C, to add two numbers, we have for each and every variable we have explicitly mentioned what is the type of the data that we are going to store in it. But whereas in Python we did not give what type of data are we going to store in the variable. That is the reason Python is known as Python is dynamically typed programming language. Python is a dynamically typed programming language because we need not specify the type of the data that we are going to store. That is the reason Python is known as dynamically typed programming language. Once after that, let us go to the basic rules of Python. And before going to the basic rules of Python, now let us have a look at one thing. What are the applications of Python? Applications of Python. The different applications of Python are that Python can be applied in web development and web development. Second, Python can be used to develop software, that is in software development. Python can be used to perform some data analysis in the field of analytics like data science and business analytics. Fourth, we can also perform machine learning and deep learning tasks. We can also develop games using Python. These are the applications of Python. And apart from the applications of Python, which companies are using Python? Companies using Python. The four most important companies are: first, Facebook; second, Amazon; third, Netflix; fourth, Google. And apart from these companies, there are also other companies like Spotify, which is a music application, like Ghana, Savan, and other music application. And apart from that, NASA is also using Python. Now, what are the basic rules which are to be taken care while coding in Python? The rules of Python are: first thing, it is case sensitive. Why it is called as case sensitive? Because let us say you are declaring a variable with a value of 10. In this variable you are storing a value of 10, and you want to access what data is being stored in this particular variable, and you are printing the value of it. But the value 10 is being stored in the variable a, small a to be more precise, but you are printing the value of capital A. Whenever you are going to execute this program, then the interpreter of the Python is going to throw an error stating that a is not defined. Why A is not defined? As we all know that Python is case sensitive. In Python, small a is not equal to capital A. First rule. Second rule, in order to comment any line in Python, you use, for example, in C, in order to basically comment a single line, you basically use two forward slashes. For example, if you want to basically comment multiple lines, you use forward slash followed by star, again star followed by slash. In the same way, in order to comment out a single line, you use hashtag. This is for single line comment. For multiple line comment, you use a triple quote. This is for multi-line comment. And this triple quote is also used to write the doc string. This I'm going to explain you about the doc string in my upcoming videos. And the third rule of Python is in any other languages, in one single line you can only write one command or one line of code. But for example, if you want to line multiple lines of code in one single line, then you have to use a semicolon. And apart from that, in any other languages like C, C++, and Java, you terminate a line of code by using a semicolon. But whereas in Python, we will not use a semicolon in order to terminate. These are the different rules of Python. These are the basic rules, to be more precise. These are the basic rules of Python, which we should keep in mind while coding. And yeah, and thank you for watching this video. Please do subscribe to the channel and please hit the bell icon for more notifications and videos. Thank you.